Are you burning out as an NHS GP? Do you know someone who is? Are there things that can be done to improve your life within your organization, or is it time to move on? Welcome back to the channel, and if you are new here, I'm Mike, a GP in Manchester, UK. And in this short video, I will share with you 3 reasons why it's time to quit your job as a GP and find a new one. Before we start, I'm going to be massively generalizing here and simplifying things. So if you are burning out, please stop watching this video and seek professional help. So here are the 3 reasons you might want to quit your job as a GP. First one, I never finish on time. Second one, I haven't had a pay rise in years. And the third one is I hate everyone. Now, as a relatively young GP, I find it difficult to accept that never finishing on time is just a thing in general practice. In some ways, it's expected that GPs will overrun as we continue to absorb. But when you work in a hospital, especially when you are a trainee, people are generally pretty strict about making sure the hours add up and are equal to the hours that you are contractually obliged to work. So what is the issue here? Now, let me list a few things that come to mind. You have 15 home visits every day, no block slots for supervising students or trainees. You're constantly overbooked with extras. You have no designated admin time. You are constantly covering for someone's sickness without a locum to help out. This might be your first job after qualifying, and this just must be how it is. And finally, you have voiced concerns and no one is listening. Now, if some of these apply to you, and I'm actually dreading comments below saying that all of them apply to you, is it worth reducing your sessions in that practice and doing some locums in other practices to see if they have the same issues? And who knows, maybe those practices wouldn't mind a switched on salary GP just like you. Quick note here about not finishing on time. The BMA specifies that a session lasts 4 hours and 10 minutes, so that should cover your clinic and all your associated admin. But if you are regularly over that, well then something definitely isn't right. Now, I'm going to use a term here that might upset you, and please don't click away if I do, but here it goes anyways. Inflation. Things get more and more expensive over time, and if your pay is not increasing, you are effectively getting a pay cut. So if you are a salaried GP and you have the BMA contract, and if you don't, maybe that's also a good reason to quit, then you will probably have something saying your salary will be subject to annual increments each year and in accordance with the government's decision on the pay of general practitioners, following recommendations of the Doctors and Dentists Review body, which means you should get a pay rise every year. The problem here is that if you don't ask for it, it's possible that your practice simply won't give it to you. Now, what makes matters worse is that I know salaried GPs that have actually asked for it, but the practice had told them that they had to hire an extra HCA, so they just don't have the money for it. So maybe next year, I suppose, unless there are other expenses. You know how it is. And here's a table which demonstrates how your pay should have increased over the last few years. Now, someone once told me that the definition of burnout is when you start seeing your patients as your enemies. On a side note, someone told me that we should actually stop using the word burnout and use the term moral injury instead. So basically, if every time you look at your list in the morning and you instantly feel like throwing your computer across the room, maybe it is time for a change. And if your organization is not willing to protect you as an employee from burning out, well then, maybe it is time you protect yourself. Now, this certainly is not a call to arms, but before I took up my salary job, which I am pretty happy in to be honest, I must have locumed in 50+ practices in and around Manchester and interviewed for countless salaried posts, because you just need to know what is out there. Now, if everywhere is then you will have clear expectations that are then easy to manage. But there are practices out there that do care about their staff, and I believe slowly but surely, the practices that don't will simply stop existing and we can then all get along. That's it, guys. Again, don't do anything rash. There's plenty of help out there. And if you want me to elaborate more on the salaried contract, feel free to leave a comment below. And again, thank you so much for sharing these videos. Lastly, remember, you can always email me directly. Otherwise, good luck.